After Rhea Ripley threatened his returning wife Beth Phoenix, Edge utters the words "I quit" for the first time in his illustrious WWE Hall of Fame career as he is defeated by Finn Balor last night at WWE Extreme Rules. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE, especially after last night's Extreme Rules event from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Of course, the biggest news story is Bray Wyatt, the return of Bray Wyatt. The White Rabbit has finally been revealed. We've covered that. There's a video out on the channel right now. You can go check it out. We break down everything, his return, all of the details, all of the Easter eggs, all of those details you might have missed or maybe not noticed because you were so excited that Bray Wyatt is now back in WWE. But it wasn't only the only newsworthy story to come out of Extreme Rules last night. One of the biggest matches on the show, not the main event, which was the fight pit match between Seth freaking Rollins and Matt Riddle. But one of the biggest matches last night was the I Quit match. Certainly it was the match that got the most time. We'll talk about that in a second because certainly it was an amount of time that probably wasn't needed, but certainly witnessed something very historic happen because WWE Hall of Famer Edge was forced into saying "I quit" for the first time in his illustrious career at last night's Extreme Rules Premium Live event. At one point in his drama-filled "I Quit" match against Finn Balor, Edge was actually very close to securing the victory after locking in the Educator on Balor's left leg with a steel chair, utilizing the chair to really inflict that damage on the former Universal Champion. And just as Balor prepared to utter the words "I quit," out came the Judgment Day. Damian Priest came running down to rescue his Judgment Day stablemate. Thereafter, Dominic Mysterio also made a run-in, but Edge seemed to have the answer as he fought off the numbers. However, it was then Rhea Ripley who really ultimately would prove to be the difference maker in this one. Rhea Ripley would handcuff Edge onto the rope, allowing Balor, Priest, and Dominic to get back in the ring and take out Edge with a 3-on-1 attack. But here came the cavalry. The reinforcements then began to arrive for Edge as Rey Mysterio then ran down to the ring to save Edge, hitting a crossbody on Balor and an inverted 619 onto Priest. At this point, this is where Dominic Mysterio upped the levels of physicality with his own father. For the first time since Clash at the Castle, when he turned on Edge and turned on his father, attacking his father at Clash at the Castle, Dominic Mysterio shockingly laid out his father. The first instance of him striking Rey, as I mentioned, since he joined Judgment Day at Clash at the Castle. But the returns didn't stop there because Beth Phoenix, yes, WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix, wife of course of Edge, made a run-in as well, striking Balor and Priest with kendo sticks before retrieving the keys to the handcuffs and freeing her husband Edge. This was then followed by a face-to-face confrontation between Phoenix and Ripley as the men continued to battle around the ringside area. Eventually, Ripley nailed Phoenix with brass knuckles, which allowed Priest to hit the South of Heaven chokeslam on Edge, and Balor followed it up with 3 consecutive coup de grace on the Rated R Superstar. Even though it was 3, it might have been 3 or 4, I forget how many it was certainly multiple, it might have been 3 or 4, despite hitting the multiple coup de grace onto the Hall of Famer, Edge still refused to utter the words "I quit," but then he was forced. And this is the smart way. This is how you have a babyface lose an I Quit match. Ripley grabbed the 2 chairs and prepared to strike a down Phoenix with a concerto. At this point, Edge has no option but to surrender. He realized, what can I do? I'm stuck. Either I quit and I lose the match, or my wife gets her head and skull caved in with a concerto, a finishing move, a move that I created. How sort of sick and perverted is that? Therefore, Edge had no option to surrender. He said "I quit," and as such, Finn Balor was declared the winner of the match. But it didn't matter anyway, because after the match, she did it anyway. A true heel, a true heel. You know, you tease to do something, you say "I quit" and say, it doesn't matter, I was going to do it anyway. Certainly, it appears that WWE could be building to an eventual singles match between Rhea Ripley and Beth Phoenix. One thing is for certain though, Edge's rivalry with the Judgment Day is far from over. Now, this one was interesting because it really polarized opinion on social media. It reminded me of Edge's last man standing match he had with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 36, of course, the empty arena WWE WrestleMania just at the beginning of the pandemic. And he had a match with Randy Orton, a last man standing match that felt like it went on for a lifetime. I forget actually exactly how long it was, but it might have been over 40 minutes. Like, it was close to that 40-minute mark. And last night's I Quit match was 30 minutes. And it's not that it was a bad match, because it wasn't a bad match at all. It wasn't bad. However, it did not need to be 30 minutes. It didn't. It just didn't need to be as long as it was. The story was there to be told, and clearly they're going to do more with this. And frankly, I would rather that Edge finally move away from Judgment Day. This is a feud, realistically, that's been going on since WrestleMania, since he joined forces with Damian Priest, and then obviously Rhea Ripley, then eventually Finn Balor turned on him, and they turned on him, and then Edge returns at SummerSlam, and then they have the match at Clash of the Castle, but now Dominic's involved. So there's a lot of different moving parts here, and now that you have Rhea Ripley involved and Beth Phoenix involved, clearly this feud isn't ending anytime soon, but I'm still struggling to care a lot about this, it must be said. I care more now than I did a couple of months ago, and I think that's a credit to WWE. That's a credit to Triple H. There feels like there is more of a reason. It's become way more personal, and that's good. But I'm still struggling to care, because I feel like the Judgment Day, whilst the group has improved, while the stable has improved, and the chemistry is more than there was previously, and they've tried to turn what was a flop into something decent. I think that's commendable by WWE and by Triple H. I still struggle to care about the group, to be honest with you. And going back to the match, I understand what they were going for. They were going for some kind of epic, and there was a lot of twists and turns, and there was a lot of running, but they could have shaved 10 minutes off that. It did not need to be a 30-minute long match. It could have easily been 20. You could have easily added that extra 10 onto the fight pit, or whatever it may be. It did not need to be that long. And I know historically I Quit matches tend to be quite long, because you have to break your opponent down, you have to beat them down, and you have to beat them to a point of surrender. I understand that, but it just didn't need to be that long. There was periods of time in that match where you just sort of, nothing was happening. It's not even a case of, they were telling this story. The story, realistically, came right towards the end in that closing 5, maybe 7 or 8 minutes or so. That's when the real story came, and that's when it really picked up pace and it was enjoyable. And I'm not a massive person that enjoys a lot of interference or enjoys a lot of run-ins, etc. But as I mentioned, it just didn't need to go on as long as it needed to. I don't think it was overbooked. I've seen people say it's overbooked and it didn't need to have all of this interference in. Well, it kind of did, because there's multiple stories at play here that involve the Judgment Day. One part of the story is Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, and I expect that to kind of spin off now. I expect that to spin off. I expect Dominic and Rey to build into something else. How long they're able to stretch this out for, I don't know, because you would think, logically, father versus son, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, they'd want to do that at WrestleMania. WrestleMania's a really long time away. WrestleMania's in April. We actually saw our first look at the WrestleMania logo for Philadelphia. That's next year. Of course, WrestleMania is going to be in Inglewood, California, SoFi Stadium. I don't think they can stretch that out that long. I really don't. So you would say then, okay, are they going to do it, say, at Survivor Series? Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio? That would make sense. I don't think they'll do it at Crown Jewel, but certainly they're going to spin off. Dominic upped the physicality when it came to Rey Mysterio there, so they're going to spin off into that. And clearly, Edge is going to continue the feud with Finn Balor, with Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley is going to have that match against Beth Phoenix, and I think there is a couple of different matches that they're going to want to do. We're going to see a mixed tag at some point, and I think it's probably going to be Beth Phoenix, Edge and Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and maybe Dominic Mysterio will be involved in that. That'll be a mixed 6-man tag, or 6-person tag team match rather. You could certainly do, I guess, just your traditional mixed tag involving Edge and Beth Phoenix, involving Rhea Ripley and then against Finn Balor. You could certainly do that too. And eventually, as I mentioned, you'll get Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley singles match. Edge, who else is he going to face? Is he going to face Finn Balor again? I guess maybe, but it feels like they're going to go down the mixed route, and certainly, and as I mentioned, have Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley too. So that's the way that's going to go. So certainly, this feud isn't going away anytime soon. When is it going to end? I mean, they'll probably do something at Crown Jewel. probably do something at Survivor Series as well. So you would probably say realistically towards the end of the year, and then Edge kind of circles back to do something different around January time. So there's still a lot of time to go in this Edge feud. As I mentioned, I thought it was okay. It did not need to be that long. It didn't. There was a 10-minute period that just didn't need to be in there. I'm not totally against the feud continuing, because there are different parts of this, and I am. Take away some of the sort of gaga around it. Rhea Ripley versus Beth Phoenix is somewhat of a dream match, right? That is a match that can and will be excellent, and I just don't want that to get mixed up in mixed tag team stuff too much. I think the money in that one is a singles match, and that's a big match, possibly for a Survivor Series or something like that. So that is something to look forward to. Finn Balor as well. We know there are massive plans for Finn Balor. It's been reported that there are big plans for Finn Balor, and it's only logical that there will be big plans for Finn Balor because Triple H has booked Finn Balor successfully. Every time that Finn Balor has worked under Triple H in terms of Triple H booking the territory, as it were, in NXT, he was a champion. He was NXT champion twice because of that. So I don't know if I expect Finn Balor to become Universal Champion or to be the one that defeats Roman Reigns anytime soon. But once they get those bouts away from Reigns, or certainly one of them, once they get the WWE Championship back to being on Raw on a week-to-week basis, I don't think you can rule out Finn Balor being WWE Champion. I think obviously Cody Rhodes is the most likely option and the route that I think Triple H will take. But now that you have a Bray Wyatt back, not that he needs the championship, but that's a possibility. Again, Finn Balor's a possibility. Heck, even Matt Riddle got a victory last night. That's a possibility. Seth Rollins is also a possibility on Raw. There's several people who can carry the ball on Monday Night Raw, and that's really interesting. But I think it is also very interesting that we've heard about these big plans for Finn Balor, and making Edge say I quit in any manner, even if it was a heelish manner, which it should be because he's a heel. That's a big deal for Finn Balor, and that's one of the biggest victories of his career, certainly. So, massive win for Balor. Again, I expect the feud with Edge to continue. Edge is going to continue to feud with Judgment Day. Rey Mysterio is going to continue to feud with Judgment Day. Beth Phoenix is now involved. We're building towards a mixed match, clearly. And also that singles match between Ripley and between and Beth Phoenix as well. So it's an interesting one. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the match last night at Extreme Rules. Let me know if you think it went a little bit too long, if you were happy with it, if you thought it was good. As I mentioned, it was quite polarizing on social media, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.